Join our incredible moms who have mastered the art of balancing motherhood in today's episode of We Time Convo.
My name is Debbie.
This is Liza.
Moms sharing inspiring stories, practical tips, and a few hilarious anecdotes. And it all begins now.
Thank you for tuning in to We Time Convo. This is Liza here, and we have a repeat special guest today. She is our college and career specialist queen, baddie, whatever you want to call her, Nathalie. So say hi, Nathalie.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for coming on. And Lana is back here. Say hi, Lana.
Hello, everyone.
She's a repeat guest co-host, so nice to have you on. And then we also have Sammie here. She is one of our mom friends.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so today we are going to talk about trade school, or it's also known as vocational schools.
Vocational careers, yeah.
Yes, and so I just wanted to start off with some statistics that I pulled up. The source is GitNux, GITNUX.com. And Lana, I'll have you start off with the first three stats. And then Nathalie, if you want to chime in on any of the facts that we have here, feel free to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 68.2% of graduates in the U.S. who attend trade school got work in their fields of study compared to 57.5% of graduates with an academic degree.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I would have guessed it was even higher, but yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. But that's kind of close, right? The average trade school degrees cost $33,000 compared to $127,000 for a bachelor's degree.
Would you agree?
Yeah, it's consistent too.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. When I read this, I was like, what? Is that how much I paid for college? Because, I'm not making that much.
No.
And then electricians, a common career for trade graduates, is projected to grow 8% from 2019 to 2029.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one I've been hearing a lot more.
Across all trades, across all vocational.
Well, why do you think that's
careers.
so? Like, what would be the reasoning?
So the statistics, the number needed or the overall number of jobs available?
It looks like it's a growing percentage of electricians.
Overall?
Overall.
I mean, there's definitely a move towards, home ownership and single living. People live less and less in community. They try to have their own places. I mean, what you can see in our area, right? The construction is booming, right?
Yeah.
Housing. So all that will require
electricity. Yeah, that's true.
And
that is true.
The population is growing. So proportionally, right? Everything is going to have to grow.
Yeah.
With the population.
And it's very
right?
specific because my husband's a general contractor and there's certain things that he just hires out like an electrician, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because it requires specific skills. Right. So most general contractors will actually rely on subcontracting,
right?
The specific like plumbing, electrical, because it's usually not cost efficient for them to have someone on staff because they have to also keep them, current with the every time code changes in the city. And so it's usually more cost efficient for a general contractor to have a set of electricians that are specialized in each city and that know the city code for each city and can work. If they were like in our area, right, you would have to know the code in Los Gatos and in Saratoga. I don't know if we're supposed to say where we live.
Yeah.
In the Bay Area. And so, that would be pretty pricey for a general contractor unless you're talking about really large companies, right?
Nathalie,
so
dang. I didn't know you knew all this.
Yeah.
That is, and this is why she's like a baddie because she knows so much. Yeah.
I mean, the coding is crazy.
Coding is crazy.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh.
All right. California community colleges reported a 53% completion rate for career technical education, which we also call it CTE students.
Yeah.
Students who complete a career and technical education path have a graduation rate of 93%.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right?
It's really high.
And registered nurses, which is a common trade school certification, are projected to grow from 7% from 2019 to 2029.
That I know. Why? Aging population. I read that.
Like,
it's because
can
we're
you tell
aging
us more?
as a society where there's supposed to be a pyramid, right? So, in a growing society, right? More kids to replace the people living, right? But now with the advance of modern medicine, people live longer, but they also have more ailments. And so there's more need. There's more older people, but also more diseases that we treat and we know how to treat. So we need nurses, right?
Yeah. So the nurses like goes into these trade schools. Are they?
It's a vocational. I've never heard nurses called trade school, but vocational, yes, absolutely.
What's the difference between vocational and trade?
I think trade is more, I mean, I'm a foreign, not a native English speaker, so maybe I misunderstood, but the way I understood the term is that trade tends to be used for things like in the construction business and affiliated, right? Whereas welding is considered a trade, which is also everything that is manufacturing and construction, I would say.
Okay.
And then vocational is a larger term, and vocational will include like cosmetology, will include nursing, court reporting, medical assistant, pharmacy technician, dental assistant, real estate licensees, court reporters, game tester, video game testers, web development, a pilot. It's considered a vocational trade.
I did
training.
not know that.
Although I saw that and I'm like, well, most pilots actually do get a bachelor's degree before they get, or while they're getting their pilot. They do it concurrently. Warehouse work, managing warehouse and logistics, all those are vocational, considered vocational careers.
Okay.
Yeah. Hospitality, sorry.
So we're going to go on with some, basic questions for Nathalie. Introduction to vocational careers. Could you explain what vocational careers are and how they differ from careers requiring a college degree?
Sure. So unlike academic focused career paths that will require a 2-year or 4-year degree, vocational employment traditionally relies on shorter and job specific training. There is very little general education that are part of a vocational training. Although in nursing, for example, they will do some level of basic biology, human anatomy, and so on, right? But they're not gonna have to complete any English or history classes to get their vocational degree. Career and technical education programs can generally be completed in 2 or fewer years, with many lasting less than a year. Okay. Now, we also have to know that a lot of people that do vocational training will also do it on a part-time basis or while they're working full-time on the job. So even though the actual training is supposed to be 6 months or 1 year, sometimes it lasts a couple of years because they go at night to get their license or things like that.
Makes sense.
But the amount of education is way shorter. Yeah.
What's the benefits of vocational training? So what are the primary benefits of pursuing vocational training instead of a traditional college degree?
Yeah, if I'm going to be very stereotypical, but in a way you can think of vocational training as more specific in training someone for a job. Right. Whereas when you go to college, a college degree will open doors, it will open opportunities, but it may not be as specific towards a specific job. Yeah, of course, when you go to college to be a teacher, the teaching credential is going to be specific to your job. But before that, you're going to get a general education degree in the subject or subjects you're interested to teach later on, right? So the first degree, the graduate, the bachelor's degree, it's more to open doors and not necessarily to train you on a specific job, right? It's shorter. Sometimes it's paid and subsidized also training, such as apprenticeship. So a lot of the trades, for example, the best way to get your education is to actually start with an apprenticeship. And then as you go, your mentor is helping you through to take classes and to get all your licensing in order. But you can start working under the supervision of an already licensed professional. So like a licensed electrician will take 1 or 2 apprentices with him, and then he will teach them on the job, and then he will show those young people how to get to their license and become an independent license.
Do apprentices get paid, or is it more of like
usually yeah to my knowledge they always are. There might be some labor laws that are slightly different. I don't know, like maybe if you're an apprentice, it's allowed to pay under the minimum wage, maybe because you receive training. I don't know. I haven't looked into it, to be honest. But I've never heard of an apprenticeship that was not at
paid.
least subsidized somehow.
So it's not like an internship.
No.
It's more of a paid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've also heard that internship are actually we're more and more going towards less and less unpaid internship package.
I just don't get internships
or
because
at least they get a stipend, like a housing and food stipend or something, because it's almost impossible for a student nowadays.
Internship to me sounds like free labor.
it is pretty much.
Yeah, but I think really we're going away from that. Yeah. And my own experience with my own kids or the kids I've advised in the past and that I kept in touch with is most of them were able to get at least a stipend.
Yeah.
You know, they're not paid, you know, especially engineering internship, they're not going to be paid the salary of an engineer, but they're going to be paid so that they can actually, it's not going to cost them to do the internship at a minimum.
Yeah. I mean, they need to be able to afford to sustain their life while they're doing an internship, like pay rent or buy food, because they're pretty much there 8 hours a day, 40 hours a week.
They
right?
are, a typical internship will be. And also, you know, a lot of students, they already self-pay their education. So during the school year, they have a side job so that they can pay their rent, their food, sometimes the tuition, right? So if they go for an internship and then they're not able to continue that side job, then they're not going to have money for rent and food. So
which the vocational side is better, right? They're working, they get paid, and then they're like taking classes to get like whatever licensing they need. I think that's a better route sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. Another benefit is it also allows you to truly experience a career and decide if it's right for you with a less financial and time commitment.
And that's what Haley did. You know, she went to a vocational school in Vegas or Nevada where she's at. She thought she would want to do like cooking or like culinary, right? She signed up for it, and like I think after a year, she's like, I don't want to do this. This is too much.
It's not for me. Yeah.
It's not for me. So I didn't waste too much money on it.
Exactly.
But she didn't go through like 2 years of schooling and then figure out she didn't want it, right? For general education.
Yeah. So can you imagine how much you would have paid for her undergrad?
Yeah.
Well, there's actually a summer program that Kehlani's doing through SVCTE.
Yes. Yeah. SVCTE.
And it starts June 10th, and it's a 4-week course, and she's taking 2 subjects a week. And for Eastside School District kids, it's free. Otherwise, it's $250 a week. But she's doing it this summer to kind of get a feel of, what do I want to do later?
Yeah.
You know, so she gets to try different career paths.
Yeah. I love that they have that.
Yeah. I see that high schools are promoting vocational more so than undergrad sometimes nowadays. Like we get a lot of emails like, oh, sign up for this and that. And it gives them an idea of what they want to do, because when we got out of college, we're like, what are we doing with our life? Right.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I didn't figure it out until like in my 30s.
Oh, yeah. I'm still figuring it out. But like where me and Nathalie work, we have an SVCTE program. And correct me if I'm wrong, but we give the students the opportunity to sign up. I think there's so many things. There's, I think, cosmetology.
There's a medical assistant, nursing assistant, auto body refinishing. There is electric vehicles.
Cooking, culinary.
Cybersecurity. It's pretty wide.
So the students are off site, like either in the morning or afternoon. And then they come back to school if they have classes they need to take at the high school.
Okay.
And then so their SVCTE does count as credits. Is that correct, Nathalie?
They get 30 elective credits as SVCTE. Sometimes they even get their science credits that way.
So do all high schools have this program?
No, SVCTE is funded by a limited number of districts. So your East Side, right? You said? Yeah. East Side, Campbell, and I think San Jose is the third district. It's 3 districts that are funding SVCTE.
Yeah. Is that the only trade vocation? Is it a vocational?
Vocational, yeah.
In the Bay or in San Jose?
My understanding is San Jose City College has programmed with other districts where they offer some of their vocational programs at the high school level. But I'm not as familiar with that. But I recently attended a conference where they brought that up, and that's how it sounded to me, that it was similar. The difference is it gives you college credits because it's done by a community college. But it sounded like it was a very similar program.
Nice.
So Nathalie, what are some common vocational careers that high school students might not be aware of?
Yeah, so I did a little bit of research this morning. So the first one that popped up is police officer. Police officer is actually vocational training, but...
Is that a new thing?
No, I think it's on the opposite. I think it's more traditionally, to be honest. most young people that I've known that have gone into police and law enforcement recently usually go and do a criminal justice type of undergrad, or at least an associate degree in criminal justice before they apply to the police academy. But technically, I believe you can apply to the police academy or to most police academies with only a high school diploma. And you don't, there's no formal requirement, but you're in competition with people that did continue their education. So, but sometimes passion makes up for education. So I would say really, if school is not for you and you're struggling, research and meet with recruiters from the police academy, because my understanding is it's not a requirement to have education beyond high school.
Interesting.
Not for many.
I was wondering.
I'm learning so much.
I was wondering that.
Don't they have a program at Evergreen Valley College for
I think they have criminal justice, just like, but I'm not aware of every program on every campus. So maybe you're right. Maybe they have a specific program. I do know they have criminal justice at West Valley, at Evergreen, and at several of our community colleges for sure.
They also have some volunteer stuff too for the police cadet. It's off of Cotto by Costco over there. Yeah. And I know there's like a cadet program where high school kids can volunteer and do their training there just to see if this is what they want to do. Yeah. So they get do like ride along things like that.
I didn't know that, but I've seen that center.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't know
one of our students does it.
Oh, nice.
Because he always brings me flyers to post at the center. So police officer, massage therapy is
okay.
We're like,
somebody sign up. Free massages. Yeah. Natalie, you should, after you retire from Lee, right? That's something to look into, and then you can hook us up.
I know. Real estate licensing, court reporters. It's a vocational training. It's a certificate. Yeah. Yes. It's the people that use the steno machine to take notes during court. And there is a huge need. Every court in the nation is short on the number of court reporters.
From what I hear, they get paid very well too.
Yes, I have that data also. We can look at later.
Yeah, I want to know. Yeah. You're changing. I'm like listening to everybody's drama, like, ooh.
Tattoo artist.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. Any type of coaching, right? So there's a different, I'm not talking about therapy. I'm talking about coaching, right? So you have people that are life coaches that are specialized in teenage coaching, meaning they meet with teenagers, they do assessments with them, they help work them through. All that is a certificate type of program. It doesn't require an advanced college degree.
I would think that it's like more psych, right? Like you need a psychology degree.
A lot of people will do that or do it as a second career, but it's actually really you there's no pre-requirement to do this.
Lana, you could be my life coach. Yeah.
That's part of my job to coach like in operations at my school. But I'll look into that.
Okay. There are very good training in the area. So I have several friends that did that as a second career. If you remind me, I'll give you the information.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what? You can be our life coach on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so earlier I mentioned pilots, right? You don't need a degree to get your pilot license. You have to be 18, I believe. Wow. Or maybe 16. Maybe you can
I would not want a 16-year-old piloting me. Yeah. I'm sorry. But
even 18, I'm a little scared.
Yeah. And then everything in hospitality, like we mentioned earlier, culinary, hotel maintenance, custodial. There are a lot more, but those are the ones that were a little surprising when I was looking up. The other ones were more, of course, everybody knows an electrician, a plumber. But those were the ones where we don't necessarily think, that's
SVCTE actually also has a firefighter program too that we forgot. So it's great. It's really awesome. A lot of the kids that I talk to that that go there for SVCT, they just absolutely love it. And they have like a big passion.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great exposure for our high school.
Yeah,
for sure.
Absolutely. And then after that, they can go to Foothill College and then they can get their firefighting certification. Yeah.
Right. So what kind of training or education is required for these careers, and how does this differ from a 4-year college program?
Yeah, so I think that's what we've said earlier a few times. It's just shorter, right? It's shorter. It's more hands-on. It has very few requirements outside of learning how to be good at your job and do it well.
And it's less money.
And then therefore it's going to be less money. Absolutely. I know it's a question we have later. So, and then it can be offered in community colleges or in private schools. Okay, there are private schools that are specialized in vocational training, and then through apprenticeship or internship, like we were saying earlier, also.
Nice.
Yeah.
How quickly can someone typically start their career after completing vocational training?
So after, I mean, it's like usually most of them have a job waiting for them, to be honest. That's why I was surprised by the statistics earlier. I would say in the Bay Area, maybe, because we have such shortage. I do think that the time to employment is way, like, and the employment rate is way higher in our area. I think as soon as you get your license. I've heard also, like, for example, at Evergreen Valley College, they have the Tesla certification program. And I've heard that they're in such need that Tesla tries to poach those kids. Even though Tesla helped establish the program, they'll still try to hire the kids before they find their they get their certificates. And then the professors at EVC are always fighting, like, just it's 2 more months, you have to finish it because you want to have the certification for later use or something. But yeah, there's such a need that a lot of kids get offers before they're done with their certificates. So yeah, so I would say the time to employment is traditionally really quick. Yeah.
Now, can you compare the cost of vocational training with the cost of a college education? Like, is vocational training generally more affordable?
Generally, yes. But like if you were to compare the cost of vocational training in a private school to getting an associate degree in a community college, the associate degree is going to be cheaper. Especially in our area, it's free now to get an associate degree. So, but in general, yes. For private trade schools, I would say the cost is going to be on average between $18,000 and $33,000. And that's for your whole training, right? That's not a per year cost. It's the total cost to get your certification, right? If we look at public trade schools in California, the cost is going to be closer to $8,000 to $15,000. The issue with that is the wait list. Like, for example, the cosmetology program at San Jose State College, which is apparently is amazing. But I hear like it's easily a 2-year wait list to get on.
Wow, 2 years.
Yeah. And I don't know if they let you get on the wait list before you graduate from high school. So
that's kind of like the nursing program, right?
Yeah, nursing program is not officially a wait list, although DNZACO does maintain a wait list. The problem with nursing is that they have a few prerequisites that they have to take, and most students don't do those classes in high school, so they have to take like 6 to 9 months to do the prerequisites, so that then they can apply to the nursing programs at the community colleges. But I've known students that were able to get in, like there's not truly a wait list in the same way that some of the vocational training, other vocational training
some
have.
Lottery, right? Is some lottery?
For nursing program, I've heard that at DNZA, yeah. When I went to the Evergreen, they didn't say so. So I don't know if they're, when I go to these events, they're always very promotional and marketing-like. So it sounds like, I can just show up tomorrow and all I have to do is my prerequisites, get good grades, and I get in. Now, I don't know if that's the reality. Because our students tend to stay on the west side of the Bay. So I don't have as many students that go to Evergreen. So. And then in California, I found another data that says that private trade schools cost between $12,000 and $25,000, so a little lower than the rest of the country. I think our trade schools tend to be subsidized because we have such a need for vocational training in California, because there's such a push to go to college, that students that may not need to go to college, but they feel like they have to. And so they are trying to entice those students to really think, are you going to need a college degree for what you want to do, right? And often the answer is no.
I think we as parents had these conversations where like you go to college or you find something that you're going to do, right? And so I think
I'm guilty of the same thing.
But the more we're learning about vocational, it's like opening my eyes, like, oh wow, I didn't know all these things existed under that.
Absolutely. And then to answer your question about cost of college earlier, right? If we're looking at the cost of an average California State University, CSU, that's $24,000 to $34,000 a year.
Oh, geez.
Okay. If if your student goes to your local CSU and stays home, it would be obviously less. But when they do those calculations, they take into account it still costs you to have your kids, even if they live in your home.
Yeah, that's true.
That's why it's 24 to 34K a year. And then for UC, it's 40 to 42K a year.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Right? It's a lot of money once we say it out loud.
You're like, kids, go to trade school. Yeah.
And then remember, community colleges are free or nearly free. In the Bay Area.
Well, Nathalie, so what is the earning potential in various vocational fields compared to fields that require a college degree?
Right. So I want to encourage our listeners to actually go to ONET. It's onetonline.org. It's a website that is maintained by the federal government. It's everything you want to know about a career, how to get into a career, and so on. And it includes all the national data on salaries and earning potential and projection over 10 years, 20 years, and so on. So ONET is the best place when
Is it ONET like OWN?
No, ONET.
ONET.
Okay. ONET online.org. Yeah. And so it's an amazing resource. So this morning I went and I pulled a little bit of data to be able to answer these questions. So a licensed vocational nurse, that data was nationwide. Average is $76,000 a year.
Wow.
The top earners will go over 6-figure, 105 for top
That's
earners.
more acceptable.
Yeah.
And that's with a licensed vocational nurse. So it's not someone that has a bachelor's degree, right? So after that, if they want, LVN can continue their schooling, part-time while they work. So they can be paid that, take more classes, and then get their registered nursing certificate. And then they can become, get a bachelor's of science in nursing. And then they go to master's. And every time they do that, the salary goes up. But they start working pretty much from, I would say the first year, probably they don't get paid, and it's just internships, unpaid internships and clinical hours, they call those. And then after that, they can start working and being paid. So it's really affordable. Yeah. It's not the most popular, everybody thinks I should go to a 4-year school to become a nurse, but the right way to do it, especially in California, is to go through the community colleges and get your LVN, RN, and then BSN later.
Just kind of work your way up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
because
what
you
my
get
friend
paid
did.
as you go. Right? That's what
she did
most
that.
do.
And she went through like a private school or private vocational school.
Yes, there are private vocational schools that will be faster to get in and will get your degree faster. So I think it's totally worth it because they get you to your degree faster, so you can start earning those salaries faster. So I think the return on investment is definitely there to go to one of those privates because they're short, they're very well done, very well designed. So you don't waste time.
What's the difference between a private vocational school and like a typical vocational school? Is it just more money or is it?
No, so you have private or you go through like SVCTE or a community college, right? Those are public.
Okay.
Right? So not every area will have public trade education available. Yeah. In some areas, the only options will be some private schools that go there. In our area, we're pretty lucky. We do have the SVCT, but we also have every community college in the Bay Area as vocational, some vocational pathways. They don't all have the same one, right? Fruit Hill has the firefighter, West Valley has the park management, as well as criminal justice and court reporting. San Jose City has a lot of the cosmetology and the trades. Mission has an amazing hospitality and culinary program. So each of them have their specialty. 3 of them have nursing, including Evergreen. So yeah.
Is there a cost difference between a private vocational school and a traditional?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah,
but you get in faster.
But exactly. The private ones, it could be worth it. Again, because we were saying sometimes there's a wait list to get into the public ones that are free. So the cost could be there. I mean, some students that could have access to funds to pay upfront private vocational training that would then get them back into the workforce faster. So might be worth it. But if you're going to self-pay, you may want to try to get into one of the public programs so you don't start with too much debt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that was example. But if we look at like court reporter, the median salary is $69,000 a year, and then the top earners are $110,000, and there is a huge need for those.
Oh wow!
Cosmetology is the one that the median earning is pretty low, and that is for California. It's $32K, and the top earners are at $46K. So that's the one where you may want to get on that wait list.
Okay.
And maybe, get an associate degree while you wait to get into for free, while you get into one of the cosmetology program for free, because those programs tend to be expensive. There's one in Saratoga, but it's pretty expensive. And I don't know how fast you're going to make that money back.
Yeah.
But electricians, I think everybody knows that, right?
Yeah.
Average salary, $73,000, and top earners are $113,000.
That's good.
And I've heard of more.
Yeah. They're
honestly.
making more than teachers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're making more than teachers and faster.
Yeah.
I mean, working with electricity is pretty risky too.
Get shot.
Like literally.
Yeah. I don't think I'll change my career. Not yet. How do vocational careers fare in terms of long-term stability and opportunities for advancement?
That's a good question. I think it's so specific to each career. I struggled to try to answer this one when I was researching this morning. Honestly, the thing with vocational training is they're usually basic needs that we all have. And so they're not going to go anywhere, We're always going to need electricians and plumbers. Even if the job evolves with whatever technology evolves, there will still be a need for trained technician that can keep up with that evolution, right? Plumbing, right? We're not gonna go back to the Middle Ages. There will be indoor plumbing as long as there will be humans.
People like me flush tampons and don't know that you're not supposed to do that. I know now, though.
Well, actually, the garbage disposal in the
Kitchen? Yeah.
That's the money maker for the plumbers. That's how they make most of their money.
Because people probably shove a lot of stuff down
I always
there
think
that
it's
you're not supposed
toilets.
to.
I removed every house I've owned. I've removed the garbage disposal. Yeah.
Oh, so you just put like the strainer and you just throw it out.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. So that need is gonna be, because vocational by almost by definition is those things that almost the basic needs, and a little bit of the ones where it's cosmetology. Yes, we could go without a hairdresser, I guess, but are we really gonna want to go back to do it ourselves?
No.
So you see, they're more related to things. So and with the population growing, then the need grows, right?
Yeah.
As far as opportunities for advancement, I think the thing in those careers is that you need the people to do the job, but you need the people to organize that job. You're gonna need people that schedule, take care of the accounting, things like that. So the good thing is, if you realize that, I'm tired of being an electrician and being on the job site, within your own company, you can start, if you give a good impression, you can discuss, what else could I do? Could I go back to community college, take a couple of accounting classes, and then, join the accounting team? So because they're in smaller structures in general, your opportunity to have access to the other jobs that exist around and that are part of the microcosm around your profession are going to be faster. When you work in a large company, like, even us working in a school, right? I still don't understand what people at the district office do. I don't get to see them. Right? I know they do stuff.
I don't either.
And when they don't, it's actually painful.
And when I ask them, they don't know. So what are you doing there?
But they do something. Because when they don't, it sucks.
And it's so funny because I used to be on a school site. So now I moved into like the district level.
Yeah.
And before I was like, what does everybody do over there? But now I see what they're doing. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
So you actually do work.
Yeah, I do work in the district level. So yeah, they are working.
You see how much harder it is to see in bigger structures, right? When you work in a typical, let's say, electrician company, right? Most of them are small, maybe 5-6 people, and the electrician will go on the job site, he'll come back, he'll have to submit something to the accounting department.
Yeah.
The accounting department is not like a closed door full of people that it's usually one person.
Right.
So you have a direct access and you can be like, you can ask them about their job and so on. So I do believe there's more contact and more direct access on seeing what else is available.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my opinion, So I think as far as opportunities for advancement, they exist, right? Every time you have a few people doing your job, there needs to be, eventually, if your company grows, you're going to need a certain level of management to coordinate people, to make sure that there is consistency in the quality of the job you're providing to your customer. And then, so I do believe there are actually opportunities to also switch and change. And it's not because you go into vocational training that you're going to be doing the same thing all your life. And you're going to start
know, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, is it possible to work while receiving vocational training, and how do people typically balance the two?
Yeah, it's usually fully integrated. Actually, the programs make it so. Now, if once, let's say, you're a licensed electrician and you want to continue training, then you will have to balance, between the two. But most of the time, vocational training is both, is working and learning and working towards a certification at the same time. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
How do vocational programs incorporate real-world experience into their training?
So my understanding, and again, it's going to be so different for each one, but usually it's because they partner with employers. So for example, currently I heard there's a program to become a nurse where they partner with Valley Medical because they have such a need for nurses that they've partnered with Evergreen Valley College and others. And so they're the ones saying, hey, please send us people and we'll train them. And then the college will do more the theoretical training and making sure they have the basis they need. But then the hospitals and the clinics in the area will be taking those students to teach them the on-the-job site type of skill. There are also another way, for example, cosmetology schools. The way they do it is they actually usually open a front to their school where you can go and get services at discounted rates.
Oh yeah,
right.
I've been there.
Yeah. Like you can get your hair cut.
You can get a haircut. You can get color for a fraction of a price. Now, if it's a first-year student, maybe you might not like.
So it's like a risk taker.
It grows again anyway. Same with your nails, right? They mess it up, right?
Yeah. And you're contributing to society, right? You're just like
exactly. Yeah. So that's how they do it. They do that, and then. Also, like I've heard of real estate offices that will help you get your license. So you would maybe work in the office and be the assistant to a licensed realtor. And then as you do that, they're kind of teaching you, they're mentoring you. And in parallel, you're doing your training. And sometimes maybe if they might help you subsidize, or at least they pay you, so you have money to pay for taking the classes for your license. So that's usually how they incorporate real world experience, right?
In your experience, how do people in vocational careers feel about their work in terms of personal fulfillment and job satisfaction?
So unfortunately, it was one of the questions where I said, my issue is I don't have much contact with prior graduates. They don't stay in touch, especially the ones that go into vocational careers. They kind of leave high school behind, and they're not typically the ones that come and visit us and give us feedback, right? But I mean, myself, talking to the people I've hired, that do trades, or I love talking with the lady that does my hair and so on. And what most of them report is they love the freedom of you. Most of them are their own bosses and they work for themselves.
Yeah.
They make their hours. They decide their price based on market, right? Yeah. They decide when they take time off. And so that freedom brings some satisfaction, and they don't feel that they're in the grind as much as I think some of us do, being in our 9-to-5 jobs in a larger structure. I have
some friends that was in the cosmetology range, and they set their own hours. They have kids, so it's very flexible, but they seem happy.
Exactly.
They set their own time frames. They're like, oh yeah, I have this appointment. You can come in this time. And, and after that, they go pick up their kids. So they have that balance where some of us don't, where we're working like a 9-to-5 job, right?
Yeah.
Agree.
Now, what advice would you give to high school students who are considering a vocational path instead of a college degree?
So really, first step is internship, shadowing, taking a summer job while in high school. You really want to make sure that you know what you're going into, right? And so shadow someone that is doing that job. Go knock at someone's door, call a random electrician in the phone book on Google and just say, hey, I'm a high school student and I'm interested in being an electrician. Could I follow you on a couple of your sites?
Or go to a restaurant and ask to go in the back and see how cooking works, like how stressful it is, right? To get the dishes out and everything.
What was it? I was joking with Irene because I think Isaiah at one point wanted to be a chef. And I was like, I told her he should go work at the Cheesecake Factory, work as in the back and see how it really is.
Or he can watch The Bear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But a lot of times these kids see like the Food Network and these chefs are really established. It's like, it's different, right? When you're hands on and you have to do the nitty gritty, it's totally different.
Yep. Very different.
Yep. I mean, Sammie should know. She owned a restaurant.
Very different.
She knows how it is. Isaiah could have worked there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Good advice.
Yep.
Yeah.
So observe it.
Yes.
Know the reality of what you go into. Yeah.
Nathalie, thank you so much. Like, I could listen to you talk all day. Like, I have so many questions. Thank you so much for coming on. Like I said, I always, like tell my kids, like I didn't have the opportunity to finish college, and I would love for them to go to college, of course, but it's not for everybody,
right?
And there are options like there's different career paths. You don't have to go to an Ivy League college. You don't have to listen to I think there's a lot of stress, right? Amongst peers.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what school are you going to? I'm going to Harvard. I'm going to Stanford. And it just, there's so much competition, right? And no, if you don't feel like you do it, you don't have to do it.
And it doesn't matter either what school you go to. I think I had this conversation with my mother-in-law yesterday with my sister-in-law. And one of the neighbor's kids was like, the dad was like, oh yeah, she got into UC because it's a better school. And then my sister-in-law was like, I went to state, my sister went to state, my brother went to state. We all have great careers. It doesn't matter where you go. No. Just like vocational, I have friends who are electricians. Mm-hmm. They probably make more money than I do, honestly. Yeah. And it doesn't matter as long as you're doing something, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And they've been earning that much more money for how many years?
Yes.
Also, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And they can work on your own house.
Yeah.
You don't have to hire somebody.
It's true.
Nathalie, thank you so much. We are going to miss you so much at work. Oh. This is your last year. Yeah. It's going to take a lot to fill your shoes, honestly. We'll miss you. And you just I'm still going to text you if I have any questions.
I hope you do.
Is that okay?
Because I'll miss you.
Yeah.
I won't miss the work, but I'll miss you.
Thank you, Sammie, for coming on. And thank you, Lana.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.